and welcome everybody to Undeniable. We are so excited about what's going on tonight. As already mentioned, the reason that we're here tonight is because we are so aware that the city of Melbourne is seriously considering the reality of God this week and especially this weekend. And we as Christians are here because we have a conviction. And we know that God is real because He's changed our lives. And it's not just a few of us, but it's thousands of us. So thank you everyone for coming. We've got an exciting night tonight. We're going to have Ben Price a little bit later, right in the middle of the comedy festival. He's going to be awesome doing his crazy impersonations and also sharing his story about what God's done in his life. We've got a couple of other guys who are also going to be sharing how God has amazingly transformed their lives. And then at the end of the night, you won't want to miss this, Chris Valentin from Bethel Church in the US. You will not want to miss that. That is going to be eye-opening, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to challenge you. You may have also noticed that dispersed throughout the crowd, there are people with white T-shirts with the words, "Ask me my story." These guys are part of the team. If you are interested in talking about God, please feel free to go up and say, "Tell me your story." And they'd love to have a chat with you. But first of all, before I introduce Ben Price to you, I would like to introduce to you an amazing guy. Used to be a drug addict, drug trafficker, had his life completely transformed. Let's welcome Anthony Fernando.
How you going, everyone? So I'd just like to share a story with you how God has transformed my life. Because He has, and I've got a story. So I was born into a Christian family, which meant growing up I knew who God was. I knew about Him, and I knew about Jesus and what He'd done and what He was about. But that's really about as far as it went. It was just knowledge. So when I was going through high school, I got to about 17 years old, and I had a brother who lived a very destructive lifestyle, and he died of a heroin overdose when I was about 17. And it really changed my outlook on life. I started to see life as, you're only born to die. That was my mentality. And I thought, well, don't really feel like taking care of myself so much anymore. So, I started to get into drugs. And drugs started to consume my life. Over that 8 years, I grew addictions to speed and ecstasy and, some really serious stuff. I started to get into, ketamine and, all sorts of really hectic drugs. But my one addiction that, kept me really bound was my addiction to smoking dope. So I got to about 25 years old, and I remember, looking in the mirror. So just prior to that, I'd also, as well as using drugs, I started trafficking. I was couriering drugs for some really big dealers in Melbourne. I used to be in the city all the time, all these big clubs here. I was the one that I had people pushing them in quite a few clubs in Melbourne. And at 25 years old, I remember I was in the shower and I remember looking in the mirror and I thought, what have you done with the last 25 years of your life? I went overseas so many times to try and dry out for a bit and, going to rehabs and, I wanted to get out of this drug haze that was over my life. But there was nothing that I could do to get free. And believe me, I tried everything that I could in my power, but there's nothing I can do. So I remember looking in the mirror when I was 25 years old, and something just started to tell me on the inside, you need to tell someone. This had been a whole double life for me. No one out of my family had any idea of what sort of life I was living. My mother, my brothers and sisters, they just thought, that Anthony's, he's a good kid. He helps out the family, stuff like that. They had no idea the sort of trouble that I was in. So the first choice that I made was to tell someone, to let someone in. Let someone, help me get along. So my mother invited me to church. I told her the seriousness of what was going on. And she stood by me and said, all right, why don't you just come to church? We'll go to a church far away where nobody knows you, because around where I lived, everyone knew me. But when we got there, I didn't even know what the message was about, what the sermon was about. To be honest, I can't remember what it was about. But all I know was God was calling to my heart. You know, this drug addiction had bound me so much that I was like a puppet. You know, the drugs were holding the strings, and that's what controlled me. But when I got up there, God spoke directly to my heart, and I knew. It was real because I knew. You know, he told me everything that I knew about Jesus, what he'd done on the cross and forgiving my sins, and now that I could be guilt-free and live, you know, without having that shame on my life, it became real. And suddenly, that little puppet became a real boy. I had life come into me. I was running around the church. I'm a real boy. You'll ask anyone. Everyone would come up to me and they were like, man, your countenance, everything's changed. Your physical appearance is changing as well. You know, but I know that God's done a miracle in my life. I never touched drugs ever again since then. I'd stopped smoking. Yeah, it's been about 3.5 years now. I stopped smoking cigarettes after a habit of 12 years or so. Within 2 weeks. And that's only the beginning of the transformation that God started to do in my life. I know that he done a miracle in my life. And if you don't know Christ, or if you've been separated for a relationship with him, he is desperate to start writing your story.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight being a special occasion, we looked at getting people like Dr. Phil. We looked at getting the Prime Minister. We looked at getting a whole bunch of names, and we've got them all, ladies and gentlemen, because we have got one of Australia's best impersonators, even if he thinks so himself. He may have seen him on Australia's Got Talent. You might have seen him on the screen before. Would you welcome the man of a million voices? Would you please welcome myself, Ben Price. Thank you. Oh. Thank you, guys. Thank you, man. All right. How are you, Melbourne? Hey. This is not a bad little turnout. Good to see you guys. Welcome to Denny Abel. It is so good to be here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you about something that happened about a year ago, almost a year ago, one of the biggest events, almost as big as this, the royal wedding. How many people remember that? Almost a year ago. I would have loved to have been there, because imagine seeing all the stars, all the celebrities as they're leaving Westminster Abbey. In fact, we've got them on the red carpet now. We've got the father of the groom, Prince Charles, has rocked up. What did you think?
It was delightful, yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Camilla and I, we had those cardboard cutouts, the faces of William and Kate, and actually it was a vast improvement on Camilla, don't you think?
Okay, thank you, Charles. We've also got soccer legend David Beckham. What did you think, Bex? It's a really amazing wedding, you know. Posh and I, we just couldn't believe it. It was such a millstone. Bit of a milestone, Bex. And you and Posh have just had a baby girl. What's her name? It's Harper 7. A little bit later. It's a really terrific wedding. We met the Duke of York, the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Edinburgh. We just couldn't believe they're all named after famous hotels. Thank you, Bex. Thorpe's rocked up. Ian Thorpe, what did you think?
Yeah, look, I have to say the wedding was fully sick. Kate looked amazing.
William also looked really dapper with his military medals. I would have gone with a strand of pearls, though. Thank you, Thorpe. We've also got the star of Man vs. Wild, Bear Grylls, has rocked up.
I have to say, survival at a royal wedding can be really dangerous. You don't want to get crushed by the thousands of people outside Westminster Abbey. They say a man is crushed every 90 minutes. If I was that man, I'd be in so much pain. But luckily, I've got vitamins and I've got protein, and it's all packed in a can of alphabet soup. If I drop it on the ground, it could spell disaster.
Sure it would. Talking about food, Jamie Oliver's rocked up. Hello, my old mate. It's Jamie Oliver here. Lovely, jubbly. Whipping up, thank you, some pucker tucker. Got some rice. It's uncooked. It's really horrible, but it's good at throwing at the bride and groom. Lovely, jubbly. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Keep going, mate. We've also got, I'm not sure who this is. We've got a journalist. Oh, you from Kazakhstan? Yakshimish. My name is Borat. Yes. High five. here at the royal wedding to see Kate's sister. Wah, 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 wah. Thank you, Borat. Keep going, mate. He's just rocked up. It's comedic legend John Cleese. What did you think? Right, thank you so very much. Thank you. Would have enjoyed the royal wedding if it wasn't for some moronic, imbecilic, complete, utter, useless, mindless idiot sitting there. I mean, he wouldn't shut up the whole time. He was singing away. It's still singing now. It's Mr. Bean. Will you shut up? Come on. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you from all the stars on the red carpet or the black board here. Thank you, guys. It is so. Mr. Bean was at the royal wedding. Do you remember? He was there because Rowan Atkinson, he had a big year last year. He stacked his McLaren into a tree. You remember that? The paramedics are going, is he okay? Because he was all, ooh, oh. I shouldn't laugh. He nearly died. I mean, Kevin Rudd nearly died last year. And in fact, Kevin Rudd is here tonight. Great to be here in Federation Square. Or, as we say in Mandarin, ni hao xi xi, xi feng pi la xi xi. I don't quite know what I said then. I know a couple of words there, but I'm sure people are going right now, I can't believe he just said that. If he only knew what he was saying, he would not say that. I just hear a voice. Any accent, I make it up. I'll just say whatever. Ni hao xi. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I could be swearing. But honestly, I just hear it. And I wonder if it happens in reverse. If someone from, say, China or Malaysia, they're talking about an Australian and they just mimic what we say. And they go, you know, I was driving up the road in Bock Hill today and this Aussie guy, he pulled out in front of me and he was like, yeah, nah, yeah. Nah, yeah, yeah, I'm just saying. Oh, yeah, go on, yeah. That is what he said to me. I can't believe it. That's what we sound like. Kevin Rudd does the ni hao xi xi thing. He does it all right. Thank goodness Julia Gillard doesn't speak Mandarin. You imagine Julia Gillard, ni hao xi xi, xi feng pi la xi. Look at me, look at me. We have had so many embarrassing. I mean, I love our prime ministers. I still miss little Johnny Howard. He was great, and you know who I wanted to get as our prime minister? Remember the former Lord Mayor of Melbourne, John Soe? He was great. I mean, yo, John Soe, he's my bro. Ha ha ha. Ain't good to be here, Federation Square. Ha ha. He was at a function once, and he said, "In Melbourne we have diversity. We do." When he said it, he goes, "In Melbourne we have the worst city. The worst city in the world." Ha ha ha. I want him as our prime minister. I want to bring these guys back. I want to bring back all the old politicians like George W. Bush. He was great for a comedian. I mean, well, you know, not for anyone else, just for comedians. When he left, we all wore black armbands because we could never write the stuff he accidentally said. You know, if he was trying to fix the global recession now, he'd be like, "It's good to be here, my fellow Austrians. We got to economize the world, and we're going to fix this KFC. Won't happen overnight. They say Paris wasn't built in a day. And when Michelangelo painted the 16th chapel," he didn't really say that. But he did say stuff like, "Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning?" And you all got that, pretty much all of you. Last week I was in Queensland, far north Queensland. They're going, "Yeah, so is they learn or not, eh?" And I'm not having a go if you're from there. I mean, I met one guy who was up there. He got excited. He goes, "Oh, I finished a jigsaw puzzle in 1 week." That's really good. Well, it said 3 to 4 years on the box, eh? Just saying. Yeah. If I offend some of you guys tonight, it's not my intention, because I'd like to kind of offend everyone equally, if that's okay. This is my city, Melbourne, and you know, I love it because I can drive here. And thank you. Yeah, I drove here tonight. I've got one of those things in my car. It tells me where I'm going. I'm not talking about my wife, but it's a GPS sat nav, and it's awesome because if you want to come for a drive with me, guys, you know who's going to be in my car. I've got the Dr. Phil sat nav. So if you come driving, you make a wrong turn, Dr. Phil's go, "What were you thinking? You made a wrong turn. You're like a redneck in a bad relationship. You got to go the other direction. You're more confused than a cow on AstroTurf. Sometimes I'll go for a drive and I've got the kids in the car and they've got the Simpsons. You got Barney going, "Hey, homie." Oh. You're going down the road. Homer's there going, "All right, we're driving the car now. We're going for a drive. Whoa! We're coming up now to a roundabout. We're going to take the first exit. Hang on, was it the first? Maybe it was the second. Hang on, think, Brian, think. What are we going to do? No! I don't know. Maybe just stop here for some donuts." Who else could you have, guys? Who else would be a good GPS sat-nav? Anyone? Let me know. Arnold Schwarzenegger. "Don't worry about driving. Get to the chopper. Come on, do it now. Come on, run." We could be here all night. Who? Ben Stiller. "Oh, yeah, Ben Stiller. Okay. We're looking for a drive. Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the road. Yeah." Owen Wilson, he's coming. Owen Wilson's coming up. I'm going to do a little bit of that for you in a moment, okay? But one that I love, and he's also in a kid's cartoon, is the movie Shrek. I love Shrek. My kids love Shrek. And we go for a drive. We've got Shrek and Donkey in the car. We're going for a drive. We're going, "All right, we're driving. We're going far, far away. Isn't this exciting? Oh, man, I can't believe we're in the car with you, man. It's the happiest day of my life, man. You know, man, before this, I was alone. But now we can stay up late. We can about manly stories. By the way, Shrek, oh, there you come on. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Federation Square, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Wow. I don't know who I am sometimes. I feel like I need Dr. Phil because, in fact, one guy, you mentioned someone, Arnie, but he needed Dr. Phil last year. Boy, because he's going to have a bit of an intervention. We got the former Terminator, former Governator, former Impregnator, sorry, but, you know, we're going to do an intervention. We got all the stars here. I mean, Maria's angry and then a bear with a sore head. How's it working out for you? It's been so hard, Dr. Phil. I mean, how do you solve a problem like Maria? And not only that, it's been so hard on all 4, 5, 6. I can't keep up with all my kids. Every time I see a kid, I'm like, "Who's your daddy? What does he do?" Okay, well, how does your buddy Sylvester Stallone think about that? "Hey, yo, Dr. Phil, it's Sylvester Stallone. How you doing? Yo, Adrian! Yo, these days, we're so old. It's not the steroids we got to worry about. It's the hemorrhoids. You know what I'm saying? That's great advice. But what good advice would Owen Wilson possibly have? Oh, yeah, hey, come on. Just got to talk from your heart, okay? Do that. Trust me, she'll be back, because they say that we only use 10% of our brains. I think we only use 10% of our hearts. Wow. Yeah.
Guys, Russell Crowe here. Mate, if I might just say, from the Gladiator to the Terminator, if you want Maria back, my advice, really easy, just pick up the phone. Just pick up the phone and unleash hell. Do you understand?
That's nuts. Get real. And I thought Tom Cruise was nuttier than a pile of squirrel poo. Hey, mind your manners. Woo! Where's the couch, man? I'm so excited. Tell him to stop it. He's giving me a headache. Hey, mind your manners. It might be a tumor. It's not a tumor. Shut up. All right, guys, we're going to take a break, but we'll be back. That's my line. Stop it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, man. I told you I don't know who I am. I love these guys like Schwarzenegger and Stallone. They're pushing 70 and they're still doing it. Hey, by the way, I want to thank one guy here. We don't want to do too many thank yous, but there's a guy here tonight, Dennis Prince, who's here. I just want to say he's a guy you saw on the... He's not in the chopper. Get to the chopper. Come on. All right, I'll just wait for that. Channel 9 chopper to just get out of here. But where's Dennis Prince? Is he here in the audience somewhere? Because there you are, mate. I just give this guy a hand because that newspaper that he brought out that you're getting a free copy of tonight, it's half the reason why we put this together, because he had it on his heart to put out a newspaper that talked about his convictions about God, and I think it's one of the catalysts for tonight. And he turned 70 at the beginning of January, so you're kind of like Arnie as well. You're pushing, an action man at an old age, and you... I'm not saying he's old. I mean, he was at a funeral the other day. Someone said it's hardly worth a trip back home. But I just wanted to honour you, mate. And I think, happy birthday for January. And well done for being involved in this. So give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I was thinking about doing a bit of Sean Connery because he's an old dude himself. Sean Connery, the ladies love Sean Connery, yes. Well, by the sound of it, some of the guys do as well. He's got a great voice. And another really cool voice I love is James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader. And when I was picking up one of Dennis's newspapers at Word Bookstore, I was there, and I saw that there's a Bible out, and it actually is the whole Bible recited by James Earl Jones. You imagine the voice of Darth Vader. Imagine hearing the whole... In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. How cool would that be? I mean, what other stars could you have? I'm thinking maybe the Hugh Grant Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Ha! He thought it was brilliant. Excellent. Ha! Then there was a bit of a stuff-up. Ha! Bit of a hoo-ha. Ha! Of course, there's the NIV, New International Version, or I like to call it the New Indian Version. Oh, my goodness gracious, you listen to the snake. What are you thinking? Don't worry, I'll help you out. Guys, you are an awesome crowd, and I want to recommend every one of you guys to other comedians. Seriously, we're going to get all your details. Now, it's all good. I'm here not just to do comedy, guys. I love to do comedy, but at the end of the day, I'm here because of my convictions, and I'm here to say what many of us are here to say, is that I believe in God. I believe that there is a God. And thank you. I say it not with arrogance, but with confidence that it's undeniable because I know God. And because I do read the Bible, I don't listen to the James Earl Jones version of the Bible, but I read the Bible, and it's a book where I don't just know about a person, but I know the person, about Jesus Christ. And it's a book that I've loved so long, and it's something that's influencing more and more each day. 2 years ago, and a bit more, I was realizing that I wasn't reading the book enough. And because people say to me, "Ben, are you religious?" I say, well, no, I'm not religious, because when I think of religion, it's like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you have to do that, you have to do that. And who wants to live like that? I didn't even really think God wants us to live like that we serve Him because we have to. But I serve God. I love God. I pray to God. I go to church because I want to, because I love Him, because what He did for me. Because He died. Because He died on a cross. We celebrated that at Easter last week. We celebrated the death and resurrection of Jesus. He took away all my sins. And it's a hard road to walk. It's a very hard road to walk, but it is the right road to walk, and I've known that. But like any relationship, in fact, that's what it is. It's not a religion. A lot of people say religion's not good. We don't need religion. And I don't think we do. I think we need relationship with Jesus. And in our relationship, we talk to God, we listen to God. The way we listen to Him is through the Bible. And I wasn't reading it enough. I was having to dust the Bible, dust the cover, and that's not a good sign. And one of my friends said, why don't you just start memorizing some of it? And I memorized about 8 chapters from the Psalms. I remember I told this Chinese lady I memorized Psalm 1, and I said, Psalm 1 helped me. Oh, someone helped you. That's good. Someone helped me too. No. Psalm 1. True story. And but it did. I learnt Psalm 1 through to 8, and it was great. But my convictions were that I didn't just want to learn about it. I really wanted to be so close to God. And I wanted to be able to say, I don't care if people knew I was a Christian, because at one point I cared. At one point I used to get a little bit embarrassed by it, or a little bit like, I don't want to tell that person. But I knew that God was working on that, because it got to a point where about 2 years ago I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this terrible headache. I don't think it's a good version of a headache, but this was the worst headache. And I went to emergency department at Knox Private Hospital, and I went in there and I said, I know what's wrong with me. And they said, we'll do a blood test, we'll sit down for an hour and we'll wait and find out what's wrong. At this time I'm thinking, I'd love to read the Bible. I'm feeling stressed, but I thought, well, I've learned about 8 Psalms. I'm just going to quote one of them randomly in my head. And I picked Psalm 4. And as I'm feeling stressed and anxious, I prayed this psalm, which was, answer me when I call to you, my righteous God. Give me relief from my distress. Be merciful to me and hear my cry for help. And I thought, that is not a coincidence. That was like exactly the words. I couldn't have articulated it better myself, what God was saying to me. And I knew that God was meant. I went through 2 months of anxiety, but I knew that I was going to get through it. And it wasn't just that God was going to heal me through that, but it was God saying to me, Ben, I want you to get real, because this walk is a tough walk. It's a narrow path. There's only one way to go. And I was sort of sitting in this middle lukewarm ground, and there is no lukewarm, there's no middle ground. I was in this imaginary spot, but I wanted to get real, and it was a tough thing I had to do. In fact, when Jesus lives in it, it's the best thing you could ever have. It's the light, because Jesus says he's the light. And I'll tell you what, that verse about Matthew 5:15, it says, don't cover your light under a bowl. It said, let it shine. It doesn't have to shine it in people's faces, but let people know. And I wanted not just to have that bowl there to cover up my light. I wanted to smash that bowl and get rid of it and say, I'm not ashamed to say that Jesus is real. And I think there's just, I know there is so much evidence to say that, but we're not here to say that. We're here to say, because we have a very real relationship with God, he's changed our lives, and he's continuing to do it. I've got a long way to go, and I think a lot of us do, but I know the very real truth is that God's doing that, and I know he can do it for you, that it's an undeniable truth. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you. Thank you.